What's going on, guys? Matt over here with Lethal Garage, and today we're going to talk about 5 cheap mods for your car. So I have a car that goes nowhere with no mods. We'll get there. And then we have a 2016 Camaro SS with tons of mods. Now, in this instance, I have spent a lot of money on this car trying to get it to where I want to get it. It's great, but you know what? I started out somewhere, and I want to give you my list of mods that I think are great. And number one being, since the hood is open, I'm gonna go with a cold air intake. Now in this instance, I am running a Rotofab Big Gulp. Now, there's a little bit of a difference here. It's a big 5-inch cold air intake, requires a tune to run. So therefore, the cost of entry to get a Big Gulp, one, your car needs to be making over 750 wheel horsepower, but 2, it requires a tune. Now, Rotofab does make a cold air intake for the SS guys out there. So if you have a bone stock car and you want a cold air intake that's going to increase the sound of your motor and gain you power, both in horsepower and torque to the wheels, Rotofab is one of the best companies on the market. There's a lot of companies out there that offer cold air intakes for your vehicle. I highly suggest you research them, but at least on the 6th gen Camaro, cold air intakes will pick up power depending on the brand you go with. I'm going to leave it at that. You can do your own research, but cold air intakes have proven to be great upgrades for your car, especially if it's just stock bolt-on. And if you do want to tune it, you can, and it has proven to get even better power. So cold air intakes, number one. Another great upgrade to define your car that I would consider cheap would be an exhaust. Now, exhaust can come in many different fashions. It can come from deleting your secondary cats. It can come from deleting your mufflers. Those would be considered exhaust upgrades in my opinion. Now, you can go as far as an axle back, you can do a cat back, you could do a full exhaust system, including headers, everything out the back, X-pipe, mufflers, everything. Now, in my instance, my car is running full stainless works. I'm running long tube headers. I have their mufflers. The car is running great. Now, why would I say exhaust is a cheap mod? Well, one, it will help define your car. It defines the way it sounds. It defines potentially power if you go with long tube headers or potentially even shorties. Unfortunately, or fortunately, GM gave you shorties from factory. But in my instance, I have long tube headers. And because my car has active exhaust, it goes into MPP mode, so I have to go in and open it so it stays open. We'll go ahead and open that exhaust. And it sounds good. Now, keep in mind, my car's basically straight piped. There is nothing of cats or anything like that in the way of the exhaust on my vehicle. It's gonna open the sound up, make it loud as heck. Obviously, exhaust sound doesn't come over very well with the very inexpensive microphone I'm using. But that being said, you can add mufflers, you can delete your mufflers, you can delete your secondary cats, you can add cutouts. All of those things range from a couple $100 all the way up to thousands of dollars. Now, obviously on the high end, it's not cheap mods, but you can begin in small portions and get there, just like I did. I originally deleted the secondary cats, I added test pipes, and then I went ahead and did full exhaust. So lots of things you can do, but exhaust would be my number 2. Now, my number 3 upgrade is gonna come down to fueling. Now, this is one of those items that is hit or miss depending where you're at in the country, whether you have access to it or not, and that's E85. Now, I'm gonna throw around a couple terms here that you may or may not have heard, and I'm gonna do my best to explain them in a short amount of time so I don't waste your time here. E85 is corn fuel. It's developed from corn, literally grown in the ground across the country. Out here in California, we have access to Pearson Fuels E85. It ranges anywhere from 70% all the way up to 83% is the best I've seen. But what it does, it allows your car to run cooler. So when the fuel combusts, E85, because of how much fuel it runs, it actually burns cooler, allows your engine to run cooler, and allows your tuner to add more timing that in turn yields more power. Now, in a 6th gen Camaro, you can run what's called flex fuel, and that lets you run either pump gas 91 or 85, pending a proper tune. Now, with that proper tune, you can switch between both fuels, you can mix and match, you can do whatever. You can run pure 85, you can run 91 at any given time. Now, that would be on the SS model. If you have a V6 or the 4-cylinder in this instance, or let's say you drive a Charger, Challenger, or a Mustang, you can run E85, but you can't run flex fuel. Flex fuel sensors and stuff like that, they're just not compatible with the ECUs on those vehicles. And so what you can do is you can actually tune for 85, which means your car can only run E85, and you do have to do the testing and stuff like that, make sure your ethanol content is good. It's kind of a pain in the butt, so flex fuel's the better route to go, but do know you can run 85, gain great power gains for a heck of a lot cheaper than running methanol or anything like that. So typically 85 on a 6th gen Camaro SS will pick you up anywhere from 20 to 25 wheel horsepower, and potentially even more with mods. Like if you have a supercharger and stuff like that, you can pick up a ton of power, but then you start running into fueling system issues, and that's where it gets expensive. So out the door, it's like $200 all the way up to $375 for a proper flex fuel kit. Then you have to add the cost of the tune, which is anywhere from $450 to $750, depending on the shop that tunes your car. And then if you do want to go all the way and you want to add full E85 with a supercharger and stuff like that, then you start getting into fuel systems, which gets pretty dang expensive on a direct inject system. So 85 is a great early on best bang for your buck mod, but as far as taking it all the way with your build, it does get pricey really quick. But couple $100 plus the cost of a tune, that's not a bad way to go to pick up 25 plus wheel horsepower. Now, my number 4 item I've kind of actually touched on within the number 2, but that is going to be around headers. Now, headers themselves, you can add by themselves. You do not need a full exhaust system to support a long tube set of headers. Now, keep in mind, you do run into carb issues and stuff like that in certain states, but outside of that, adding headers to your vehicle can be fairly inexpensive. There's a lot of brands out there that make great headers. They pick up great power with a proper tune, and you change the sound of your car, it sounds amazing. Now, as far as cost, headers can range anywhere from $600-700, which are pretty cheap headers, made, brand, etc., all the way up to $2,000 to $3,000. Now, there's a lot of things you can do that make headers really expensive, such as ceramic coating your headers or wrapping your headers, but a set of long tube headers is going to pick you up anywhere from 20-30 horsepower, depending on where your build's at. If it's just a stock build, you want to change the sound, you want to pick up some great low-end torque, long tube headers are a great way to go. Now, keep in mind, when you do put long tube headers on, you will need a tune. Now, factor in that cost at your local speed shop or a trusted tuner, and you can make some really good power. Now, in the larger scheme of things, are headers considered a cheap mod? I think they are, in comparison to a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 supercharger, our built motor, and stuff like that. So, I know a few of you out there are probably gonna be like, headers are not a cheap mod, but I think they are. I think they classify as something that anybody can rise up to secure, and they're gonna add power and great sound to your vehicle. They even sound great with the stock mufflers on a Camaro. What are we looking at down here? Well, this is gonna be my number 5, and maybe not so much for a 6th gen Camaro, but rear end gears in your differential. That is gonna be my number 5. Now, in the 5th gen Camaro and the 6th gen manuals, gearing is probably the fastest way to make your car have more power off the line right off the get-go. Keep in mind, GM or other companies build your car and gear it for the best fuel mileage possible to not completely eliminate all of the fun these cars add, but do know that from factory, they're designed to give you the best gas mileage possible. Now, with that being said, changing your gears, it's not completely expensive. New gears rise into the $1,000-$1,500 range, but the change that it brings your car is night and day difference, such as going from, I believe it's a 355 to the 392s in the 5th gen. I could be wrong. It might be the 372s. My numbers are all over the place here, but gearing in your vehicle can play a huge role. And I'm laying on the floor showing you why. But in all seriousness, for a mod that's gonna make your car really feel a lot faster, especially for you manual 6 guys, gearing plays a massive role in how your car can launch and how it can feel. Now, if you have an automatic car and you change your gears, you're basically gonna be blowing your tires off all the time. You really are. These automatic transmissions are pretty smart in the way they can do things, but the problem is when you start messing with the gearing, you gotta go in and start messing with the computers to figure out all that torque management and everything like that, and it gets a little dicey. But as far as the manual cars, you can really make your car feel epically faster. If you guys didn't even know, even like the 5th gen Camaro SS to the 1LE, the gearing between those two cars is night and day difference, and the cars feel amazing in difference from the SS to the 1LE variant. But overall, there's my list of 5 what I would consider cheap mods for your car. That 1 is gonna add power, 2 is gonna change the sound, and 3 is gonna make you really feel the difference for the dollars you're spending to get it. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think I'm totally out of my mind with suggesting these mods? If not, post down below. As always, guys, appreciate you guys watching the content. Hit that subscribe button for more Camaro content, more on the 71, which is coming, more around the 6th gen, which we're gonna get into the 8-second range down the quarter mile. Just a lot happening. So thanks again for checking it out. Likes, comments, shares appreciated. And until next time, hope to see you on the road. All that being said, cheap mods aside. Wow.